Hi, everyone. So today's webinar, if you don't already know, is on Google Calendar. So Google Calendar is kind of like a digital calendar. So you can access it on your phone, tablet, your computer, or any other device. And you can use it to schedule events, meetings. If you need to remember to do something on a certain day, you can do that. You can connect it to your Gmail account as well. So it'll automatically import, like if there's a meeting you have scheduled by email, it'll put itself into your calendar. So that's really useful. So first of all, if you want to access Google Calendar, there's a few ways. First of all, there's a URL, which is just calendar.google.com. And I can put that in the chat. There's a couple other options. You can just search for it. So if I do Google Calendar in my search engine, it should be the first result, and you can just click on that. Finally, if you are using Google Chrome as your browser, there's a third option. So if you open a new tab, or in most Google apps, you'll see usually in the top right, there's the 9 dots or the waffle icon. So if you click that, I've moved mine to the top. You might have to scroll down a bit, but somewhere you should see an icon that says calendar. And if you click that, it'll also take you to the calendar page. So back to the calendar, there's a few different ways you can look at it. So you can, if you see towards the top right of my screen, to the left of the waffle, it says month. So if I click on that, there's a bunch of different ways. So there's day. So if you need, if you have a really busy day, say, and you have a bunch of different events, you can click day, and it'll show you just like a breakdown of what's happening. So starting in the morning, and the red line is what time it is now. The other option is week. So if you need to look at what's happening over the course of a week. There's also month, year, schedule. This will show you just like events that you have. So for example, I have some school stuff for Monday, and you can see here from the 21st to the 24th, it kind of skips because I don't have anything added to my calendar for those days. Finally, there's 5 days, and that's just the next 5 days. So that's useful for like a work week. Now, you might have noticed there's also some letters next to everything, and those are just keyboard shortcuts. So for example, if I'm on 5-day view, if I'm on 5-day view and I just want to see month quickly, I can just tap M on my keyboard, and as you can see, it takes me back to month. And if you ever forget, you can always just go back to the drop down and double check there, or just click. Right, so hopefully that was a helpful overview of calendar. You obviously also want to add events. So like, for example, I have an assignment that I added for today. So there's a couple different ways you can do that. First of all, you'll see towards the top left of my screen, there's a big create button. So if you click that, you'll see a little drop down, and the first option is event. The other option is to just click the day. So for example, say I want to schedule something on, let's say next Friday. I can just click, and you can see it automatically pops up a little window. So say I'll just add you can add an event title, so like a birthday or something. And this is like your status. So you're able to, so other people can see your calendar if you add them, and you can say, oh, by the way, I'm busy that day. So, if you try to reach me, you'll probably go to voicemail. Now, some events may not be all day. It might be a specific time. So to do that, just under the naming where there's a clock, you can see add time. And if I click that, you'll see it shows this is the start time, the first, and this is the end time. And if you scroll through here, this gives you 15-minute increments. So maybe this starts at 11:30, And by default, it'll set to half an hour, and you can always change that. So maybe it goes till 12:30. And if it is all day, you can just re-click this all day box. Now, if this is an event that happens frequently, like maybe every Friday you go for tea with some friends, you can choose where it says doesn't repeat. You can click that and say, maybe weekly on Fridays. There's also a lot of different options. So like annually, it's like a birthday, on weekdays, and you can also set a custom repetition as well. Now, maybe you're setting up this event and you want other people to come. So to do that, there's this option here, which is add guests. So if I click add guests, I can type in anyone's email. So I'll just use Carly's. And then once I hit save, Google will automatically send an email to everyone you put in here. And they'll see, oh, there's some event happening that day. I'll take note of that. And it'll also automatically be added to their calendar. So if they miss the email, if they check their calendar, they might see that as well. If you have an online event, there's an easy way to just add a quick Google Meet link just by clicking the big blue button. If it's an in-person event, you can add a location and you can type in the address, and Google will send that along with the email to any other people. And then once you're all set, you can hit save. And there's another question is, do you want to send invitation emails? So you might want to send, I'm not going to clog Carly's inbox, and I'm just going to hit do not send. If you accidentally click save, you can always say back to editing. And I'm just going to invite all guests. Now you can see on the 24th, there's a new event that says 11:30 a.m. birthday. And if you want to access that event and see more details, just hover over it and then click. And you can see, there might be a Google Meet link here, the phone. So there's me saying, yes, I'm going. And then there's also Carly. So as people get the emails, there's an option to accept that you're going, and Google will update this with this little green check mark. It's like, yeah, it's like an RSVP basically. So you might notice on the left, there's a few filled boxes. So these are basically, you can create kind of sub calendars within calendars. So for example, I have birthdays as a sub calendar. So if I ever just need to quickly see if someone's birthday is coming up, I can uncheck the other boxes. I also have national holidays, and I have some school stuff as well. Finally, I'll just give a quick overview of settings. So at the top, next to the month, there's a little gear icon. There's also support, which I'll go over in a second. So if you click the gear icon, left click, not right click, there's a few different options. There's density and color, but I'm gonna go specifically to settings. So here you can change your language, your country, your date format, your time. If you have like family that lives in a different time zone, if you want to avoid having to figure out what time it would be for them, or they want to avoid that for you, you can add what's called a secondary time zone. So under time zone, there's a little checkbox that says display secondary time zone. And if you click that, you'll see this kind of unfades. I'll show again. So this is faded. And once I click the box, it's unfaded. And then once I do that, there's a whole list of options of a bunch of different time zones, and you can select the one that you need. And then that way you'll see times both in your local time zone and the secondary time zone. And if you want to get rid of it, you can always just click the box again and it goes away. Finally, a couple more things. There's support. So that's a little question mark next to the gear icon. And if you click that, there's help. So if you need more help, it'll take you to a separate help page. There's also a feedback page. So if you found something weird that's going on or you'd like to request something, that's always a good option. There's also training. So hopefully, can you see the new page that's opened?
Yes.
Great. Yeah. So if you used a different calendar, like for example, Microsoft Outlook's calendar, then it gives you just resources on how to, it's called migrating. So just move like, events and everything you've created in that calendar over so you don't have to do it by hand. And there's also guides on just like learning basics. Google has an online course for chat, and there's a cheat sheet as well as some keyboard shortcuts. So you might want to keep that with you if you like using keyboard shortcuts as opposed to clicking things with the mouse. So if I go back to the calendar page, the last thing I just wanted to quickly show you is search. So if you need to search for a specific event, I'll search for, say, birthday. And you can see a few different things showed up, and as well as the thing that we just added. And once you're done, you can go to the top left of your screen, click back, and that'll take you back here. And if you want to look ahead, say like next month in July, at the top left, there's two arrows. So this will take you to the next time period or the previous one. And this will change. So if you're on, say, week view, it'll take you to the next week. If you're on year view, it'll take you to the next year, and so on. Color coding, I forgot to mention that. So if you're creating an event, so I'll just go back to birthday. So there's a little trash can icon. So if you accidentally create an event, that happens sometimes, you can delete it. If you want to change something in an event, like I'm going to do now, there's a little pen. And if you ever forget what an icon does, you can hover over it and it'll give you like a little piece of text that says, this is options. So if I edit it, you can see, so kind of towards the middle left of my screen, just under location, there's a little blue circle. So you can set a different color. So say for example, I have all the holidays in a green color. And so that way, when you're looking at the different events in your calendar, you can really easily differentiate, what kinds of events are going to happen. So if you're looking for a birthday, you can say, okay, I know I need to look for blue. If I'm looking for holidays, I can look for green, and so on. And once you're done, just hit save, and you'll go back to the calendar page. And yeah, that's the presentation on Google Calendar.
So if I open Google Calendar, so I'm right now, but if I move to when I don't have like any events, so right here, November, or let me just move to December actually. So if I want to add, let's say like an event, for example, so there's a, at the bottom right, there's a button, it's like a plus button. So if you click that, you can hit, it gives you 4 options: event, task, reminder, and goal. So it depends on what you want. So for example, in this case, if I want to make an event for, let's say, my birthday, um, so it would, first it prompts me to add a title. So I'm just gonna type birthday, and then you can select whether it's all day or not. For this case, I'm not gonna select all day. And let's say I want to set a certain day, so I would just hit the date, and I can just change the date to whatever I want to. So in this case, I want it to be this Monday, December 12th, and you can also set the time if you want to. So let's just say 2 p.m. to, I don't know, 4 p.m. So you would just have to scroll and change it. So you can also change it from AM to PM. And then you can also change the color if you want to. So let's just add it to grape because it's my birthday. That's like one of my favorite colors. And so I can hit this top left top right corner to hit save, and then it'll create this event called birthday. And let's say I want to delete it, for example. So I would just hit the event and I hit the event. And then in the top right corner, I see these three dots. So if I click on those three dots, I get a couple options. I can delete it, I can duplicate it, and I can copy it. So in this case, I want to delete it. So let me just hit the delete button, and then it'll ask you if you're sure you want to delete the event. So you just hit delete. So I can do another one for the task. So if I go back, I hit this bottom right button and I hit it with the plus sign and then I select task. And then I can add a title, whatever I want. So let's just say grocery. And then I can add details if I want. So if I really wanted to, I can add like what I needed to get from the grocery store. So let's just say something like apples. So something like that, yeah. And then I can change the date as well. So I would select the date and then I could choose whatever I want. And then if I scroll left to right, I forgot to show this in the events, but if you scroll left and right, you can actually change the month. So let's say I want to change it to November. So I can change it to November 9th. And then I can just hit save. And then it creates an event. And so let's just say it's like November 9th and I finish this task. I can select the task. So I selected the task and then I could hit mark complete in the bottom right corner. And so when I do that, it gives me like a check mark and then it puts a line through it to indicate that the task is done. And that's pretty much it.